like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, heck, we're even on TikTok. We're excited to engage with you. We hope you'll join us moving forward.
Good morning, everyone. Happy Friday. We're getting into the holiday season really now, and it's slowing down. Markets are still moving ahead as they always do, but certainly you can tell it's coming to the end of the year. So we're going to do a kind of like a roundup of what's been happening. And in the next couple of weeks, we'll be putting together our how did 2021 go, and then main themes and what we're looking for in 2022. And you know, our picks will be in there, so that'll be something for our subscribers. And we always encourage, since we try to get as much as we can out there as free content to help educate, to help people get excited about a lot of these major themes that are happening and markets that are developing, and where the best opportunity to make the biggest bang for your buck. But we're also building out a business here where we need to engage our subscribers and to reward them with more content for subscribing. And that's kind of what it comes down to. So we're really putting an effort into having a lot more content behind the scenes on the website that isn't just on free for YouTube. So with that being said, we were going to have a quick chat, and we'll have a video out later on today with Allied Copper. And this is a great conversation to have in regards to an IPO that's come out. It's a copper play in Nevada. They've got a strong team management, both in M&A and in technical ability. And they've come out. They look strong for the year ahead. But we're going to talk about kind of timing of when it came out. And then there was a bit of a sell-off on the stock. And people ask, well, what happened? What's going on? We're going to reach out to Richard Tremblay and find out his opinion on how that is. And I have my own. I certainly have a much more robust, positive opinion on Allied Copper moving forward. It's just, you know, the timing. Personally, I think the timing, without any major news flow just rushing out at the market, people who did the IPO maybe got a bit of a bump, a lift, and they took some money off the table, pushes the stock down. There's tax loss selling, blah, blah, blah. Things can happen. But I think the year ahead, we're going to see more and more people are getting on board, understanding the critical need of copper, of a lot of these battery energy metals. That isn't going away anytime soon. This supply demand isn't going away anytime soon. And the more we see these plans develop for the electrification of the future, for adding more batteries, electric vehicles, buses, snowmobiles. I mean, we remember talking to Exro where they were building power conversion units that would work on electric snowmobiles and boats. And you name it, the world's going electric. And that means copper. It means a ton of battery energy metals. And that means all mining. So we're replacing one for another, and that's fine. It doesn't mean that the oil and gas sector is going to, have a hard year. They're going to do just fine next year as well. It's kind of this distinct, kind of misconception that they didn't really have a solution to move forward with their great plan for energy. It was just ambitious that we're going to meet these absurd net zero goals. And we've talked about anytime someone says net zero, they're not serious. They're not a serious person, because you can't have net zero anything. If you want to talk about reduction of numbers, okay, that's fine. But you can't have net zero of a virus. You can't have net zero of this. It just doesn't exist. You can't, it's not something that a serious statistician or anyone in data would ever do. So I just wanted to kind of just rush through a couple of things that are in the headlines right now, and just keep this a bit of a lighter day. There's all sorts of talk from Fauci and the Omicron, or whatever you want to call it, flu that's out right now. And I'm going to go right out there and just call it a flu, because it's had one death globally. They're really trying to push this thing as hard as they can. That narrative is switched now from it being a health concern to being a monetary concern. Is that we don't want hospitals being overrun by these. Well, I've talked about this before. When I had COVID, and for the last 2 years, you couldn't go to a hospital. I mean, they would just simply tell you to stay at home. So it wasn't an option that you could do that. We can have You know what? We're going to call an audible right here because we were able to get Richard Tremblay on right now. So let's talk about Allied Copper. Let's get on here. Hello, Richard. How are you?
Good, Andrew. How about yourself?
Very good, very good. Well, we're glad we're able to get you. We were just doing a little update here on some of the markets. We were talking about the demand, the growing demand for copper, as well as just kind of some of the things with the vaccination and Fauci and things that are going on just in the news. But I asked the question actually, and this kind of puts you on the spot that we're getting right into it. The big question I have with people is, well, what happened to Allied Copper? They came out. This sounds like a great story, and the stock kind of dropped. And I said, well, we'll pose it to you. I think I've got my own personal opinion. You can tell me what you think about it. But why don't we just first kind of remind people who's involved, what the plan is, and kind of remember that there's the team, there's the project, and everyone who's involved, and what the goal here is.
Yep. So you've got myself. I've got about at least 15 years of junior market experience, private venture experience, venture capital experience. I've helped companies raise capital through my own independent consulting company, Golden Ears, and I've worked as a CEO back in 2012 with Pacific Potash, and so I guess with my varied experience over the years, it gives me the tools to help navigate complex markets, which I find myself in right now with Allied Copper.
Yes, yeah, and that was kind of my thought. And you could tell me because I just have a guesstimation, and people said, "Well, why did it get hit a bit?" And I said, "Well, sometimes with the timing, when you come in to November, December, and we've never had to deal with this pandemic issue before, and then also what do you call it, the sell-off season." Is on where people,
tax loss selling.
So tax loss selling is that you come to the market, there's a bit of excitement, and then if there isn't like a blow me over timbers, like we're doing this, we're doing that, like it's just bombardment of massive news. Those that kind of got in sometimes go, okay, I'm going to take a little bit of money off the table, and that kind of pressure will push it down. And then because of tax loss selling, people go, oh, okay, I like the long-term outlook of this company, but I can let it sit for 4 weeks. So let's just take a bit of we'll sell it. And to me, that's kind of, I mean, it's a wild speculation, but that's kind of what I see is happening, because there's absolutely nothing fundamental in the news or any outlook or anything like that in regards to the team, the management, the project, or copper.
Nothing's changed, Andrew.
Yeah.
Nothing. The one great change that we have is the acquisition of Klondike property in Southwest Colorado.
Yes. So someone looking at this now,
right in the Paradox Copper Basin. I mean,
yes,
in that Paradox Basin.
Well, let's talk about that addition, because I mean, basically, I mean, I like to look at things as a bargain, and so someone that's looking at this now, people that put in money in the company will be a little bit annoyed, but you're going to get this at a bargain right now, yes, with the team, with everything, and that's let's say someone who hasn't looked at you before, this is very attractive right now. So let's just talk about the option package that was just about a week ago that you announced.
Oh, the acquisition?
Yeah.
Klondike. Yeah, it was about just over a week ago now.
Yeah.
About 10 days ago.
So that acquisition, maybe walk us through that.
Sure. Well, so what, we picked up this property. What we really liked the fact that it was, in, again, a basin that has quite a history to it, in the Paradox Basin. The project surface showings are truly spectacular when you're having grades of 6.3% copper on surface.
Yeah.
I mean, there is work being done behind the scenes, at this time. And obviously, initially, we just on the effective date, we paid $50,000 split between the two parties. And we're happy, very happy to be working with Cloudbreak Discovery and Alianza Minerals. And so that's been taken care of. Obviously, once the exchange accepts that it's gone to exchange acceptance, we will then the $150,000 will be paid to the parties, and 2 million shares. So, but that's the gist of the first year transaction. We will have to complete a minimum $500,000 Canadian of exploration expenses.
Yeah.
For our first year.
Which is not hard to do.
Pardon me?
That's not hard to do. It's not very hard to spend.
No, sir, that is not hard to do.
Yeah. Now, it's certainly a lot better than having to go rent helicopters up in the Golden Triangle and fly around the mountains. But at least it's better spent in the ground and quicker spent in the ground than in other locations that are harder to reach.
No, well, exactly, and that's just it. The money, we will be spending the money to, it'll be going directly into the ground. And
yes.
There will be news releases coming out with respects to what's going on with the Klondike property and SK for that matter.
Yes. And this was, I really wanted you on because we've talked a lot about tax loss selling, and I had on a really interesting guest who's a hedge fund. He runs I think the #1 Canadian hedge fund, Alpha North X. And he was talking about, especially this year, this tax loss selling, and that in the next coming months, there tends to be a big boost, a big jump up because people sold off and they buy back in.
Yeah.
I was trying to think, okay, what company out there, and I'm not going to say it's the #1 that could have a big bump up. I never want to really go out that far, but what's a good company right now that has been beaten up for no good reason, that could see a big shift in the positive very quickly? And I thought, you know what, you guys, because nothing had changed from the great project you put together.
Could not agree more, Andrew. Yeah. Could not agree more. I mean, we're being beat up for no reason at all. I do understand it because I've been in the markets long enough that I do understand it. There's also a lot of variables and catalysts that have kind of hurt the metal sector and the junior exploration sector, and some of those variables and our prime example are the blockchain / the bitcoins of the world, that the cryptocurrencies have hurt the junior explorers, but yes. that's fine and dandy, and we'll just have to deal with that. That's all part of but we got to make sure that what we are starting to work on is really making sure that we get our story out there and that people understand what we're doing, and that we're not, if for lack of a better expression, we are not fooling around. We are going to work hard, roll up our shirt sleeves and put our head down and do the work that needs to be done.
Yeah, the crypto market, I don't have any problem with it. I think there's a need for it. There's definitely interesting things going on with it, but it really has captured the imagination of anybody who has risk capital. Some of them don't think it's risk capital. Some of them think it's solid, but they've really, for the people that kind of look and go, oh my God, if I want to go for a high flyer, I should go for a crypto, because they hear some stories, someone put it, of a 29,000 return. That's not like, you might have a shot at a decent return on one of these ones.
Yes.
But
what I have noticed is companies that have good drill results are being rewarded to some extent, but not to the extent that they used to be rewarded.
No.
So have we lost a generation of investors to the cryptocurrencies? That's possible. I don't know.
Yeah. I think it's possible, but people, those
that are rewarded with good drill results.
Yes. The market will. And I think that there's a seasonality. There's a seasonal play to this. I think that people will come back, but unfortunately we have been pitted up against crypto and whatnot for that equity. And it gets, they have the dollars they have to spend is it's incredible. So it's hard to compete against that funding.
It is hard to compete.
Very hard to compete. My hope is that you get more of these world leaders that are on board with the whole Build Back Better, that want this greener future, are going to start really hammering home. Listen, we need a supply chain. We need a clear custody of goods. I shouldn't have to send my goods from Nevada to China to get processed, then back to somewhere else. That is not green. And even if it is somehow economically feasibly better, that shouldn't be what we're doing. Is that cost on pollution, on oil and gas, and everything else, bunker oil, not even oil and gas.
Obviously it's always been about paying the wages in North America, whether it's Canada or the United States. It's always been about that. And problem has always been in Canada is we've lacked the production all the different production type of industries, and we've lost those over the years. Whereas
Yes.
in the U.S. they have as well, and it doesn't make any sense to be sending raw logs or or over to China or Japan to complete the production of a product and have it come back to you. It makes zero sense.
No. It is perfect. It's a perfect model if you're trying to do what they've done, which is you've pushed all of the assets into a microcosm of not even 1% of the population, of like 0.1%, to maximize the efficiency for that group, instead of saying, hey, listen, we should have industry. I mean, it is nonsense to send everything to one country that's a developing country and go pollute as much as you like, do whatever you want. We don't want to hear about it. We don't want to see it. It'll be fine. It's like, that's not how an ecosystem works. So if you are green, you shouldn't want that. So it's people need to take a step back, put a bit more thought into what it is that they want out of life. And if we want this greener future, what does that entail? You know what? We should probably have more jobs here that work on things and do them correctly with proper regulation, and we supply the mill that's here. I mean, it's to me, it's going back to some basics.
Yeah, there needs to be not just the accountability, but it's also the responsibility.
Yes,
and that is the crux of really the matter.
And I'm hoping that comes from I'm never like saying this. I can't even believe I'm saying this, but we live in this world now where it's legislation of everything. I'm hoping that we see some sort of encouragement from a legislative body saying, we're on board with this. Like, we're building back better. We're putting $1 trillion into the market. That means we need to have the following. We need infrastructure. We need this. We need we need to actually have some industry building things, and we need to start building this back up. To me, and even with the slogan "Build Back Better," I love it. It's great. It's a great slogan. It kind of encapsulates the hopefulness that we have, that can we do this greener and better? Cool. I'm all on board. But let's do that then. And why isn't that reflecting in the obvious and logical and reasoned mining sector? And that's the disconnect that I find it very confusing and troubling, to be perfectly honest.
Well, it is. I find it rather confusing and troubling in the fact that all you have to do is take a look around you, and look at whether it's steel, aluminum, copper, mainly copper for us because we are Allied Copper. If you look at just about everything around you, computer screens, television screens, I mean, your television, your computer, your laptops, your vehicles, your cell phones, it goes on and on and on. Copper is used in just about everything.
Yeah. I
mean, the thing with the copper, people will say, no, well, they can use aluminum for the electrical grid, for the large power lines.
Yeah.
Well, one thing people forget is aluminum is so energy intensive to produce it.
Yeah.
That, copper, it makes the most sense.
And we need, we have, I've posted some in the past. I don't know if we have them readily available, but like supply demand charts, in order for us to even make, say a 25% of the hopeful projections of what we could do would mean a staggering amount of copper that we need to find.
Yes.
And that means that isn't just, hey, we can grow it. We need to find it.
We need to find it. It doesn't, it's not easy, and it is capital intensive as well. But that's why you have to try to pick the best projects possible, which again leads me to Klondike, which leads me to SK. We feel that we have as good a chance as anyone, if not better, than with those two projects to start.
And when we're speaking to people, I do have obviously a lot of people that are in the mining sector that know this well, and they know this story, and they know that this is factual, and they know it's true. But when what I try to do is reach out to as many generalists and people in crypto and everything else, and try to remind them. If I look back at, say, the Great Depression, they looked at like oil and gas, they look at energy, they go, during that period of time, it was horrendous for a lot of people. It was a really tough time. But if you were in new energy, oil and gas, you were doing just fine. Yep. And I kind of make the equation that that's not unlike today. You're still in ahead of the curve. You're in early right now into this.
Yes,
what's
very much so. This right now, this stock is, I think it's a bargain.
It's a bargain. It's a bargain. That you get any sniffs of anything, it starts moving.
Yes.
And not only that, is that people it's just a matter of time before they have to come to terms with what does it mean for a Tesla what's it take for that. Now we know because we talk about it all the time, but the average person isn't really putting together that all comes from mining. Like they have to hear it like 4 or 5 times, but that will come. That will come. They will start to realize. And thank God,
changing perception.
Yes. Yeah.
It's truly all about changing the perception. I mean, the demand for copper is going to outstrip the supply. The numbers are showing it already. I mean, there's potential to be in shortfall by 2025.
Yeah. I mean, we're lucky to have a couple. Once in a while, we'll have someone like Bill Gates come out and he'll talk about demand. Whether it's for, I think at one point it was in regards to cobalt, but also he's talked a bit about nickel. Certainly, Elon Musk. Every once in a while, he'll jump on board. Yeah. Silver, he'll mention. Yeah, and that definitely goes so far because that's kind of what's driving. Certainly, Elon. A lot of the cryptos. He mentions one thing and boom. Yeah. 20 million young people throw a couple dollars at Dogecoin. Yeah. Once we have more of that on board saying, and he was looking like literally at nickel mines. He's looking at other mines to go, I need vertical integration. I need literally from your mine to a mill to my storefront. Like we want this and we need that feed all the time. We don't even want to put in the market. And these types of things are going to be solutions that do come out as well. As we move forward, because that stable supply of these products to end users, and I mean, like whether it's like literally Amazon, because I mentioned this to people and they find it hard to believe. They have a mining group. They have a mining sector group. It's not big, but they actually have that in their data, kind of side. And as when I was speaking with one of their global strategists, so it's amazing that people don't know. All of these major companies, they know they're well aware of this. It's just how are they positioning themselves to make?
The majors are well aware of what's going on.
Yes, and that I mean, I look to myself as is always trying to get that message out, and especially copper, because I mean, gold's fun, especially for anyone that's been in the sector for a long time. It's always been gold that shines the brightest first, and people get excited. It's kind of like you found the treasure, you found a pot of gold underneath the earth.
Yes,
and that always drives people's fascination. But I think I'm not as excited about gold anymore. I think it's cool and it's got the fiat story, it's got value, it's got inflation and all of that. But that doesn't capture the imagination of people as a battery energy, as a copper, where it's like, listen, this fits in exactly with the entire theme, which is going to be decades long theme of climate change, of green, of clean. This is all the foundation part of it, the way as I can see it.
No, agreed. I mean, copper is part of the foundation and has been since the beginning of, pretty well the beginning of man, So it's not like it is needed. It is essential, and it has been shown to be essential right from the very beginning. So there's no way that that we can achieve what we want to achieve with respects to making the air cleaner that we breathe, our life, part of our lifeblood for us to live on this planet. I know that there's been a lot of links to pollution with respects to asthma and a lot of different cardiovascular problems. Some people can deal with it better than others. Copper is needed. It will continue to be needed, and the demand has continued to grow. And it would appear that that we have no choice but to make this world a better place.
Yeah, and that's kind
of we have to be better steward. We have to be better steward.
Yes. And there's no harm in making a bit of money by doing the right thing too. And this is the perfect culmination of.
That's part of it. That's part and parcel of it.
Yeah. I always find the capital markets are one of the best ways to solve a problem, because you're rewarding people who will see the problem and finally go, okay, wait a second. We need to solve this. And all the solutions come from the foundation of this.
And thus the impetus of why Allied Copper was formed.
Beautiful.
Because we could see what was happening within the copper space. All of us gentlemen that are in this company.
Well, on that note, let's talk about a couple. I mean, because you've got quite a team as well. Like you have the
Yes.
team that's finance, that's stock market specific, M&A
Yes.
specific, and of course, I did an interview with Werner Yule. So
Yep.
technical ability. Let's maybe let you walk through a few of them. We'll bring them up here on the website so that we see them while you're chatting with them as well.
Sure. So with Warner, I mean, we're extremely happy that we have Warner on our as our executive chairman. To have a gentleman with that kind of knowledge and that kind of experience is you don't find that all the time. So
No,
we are very fortunate. You know, he came to the group and said, you know, I really want to start something from the ground up. And the idea here is he's a gentleman that has so much experience that finds something that's and we, you know, let's just say we build something out. We're fortunate enough we have discovery, and we are able to you know, have enough pounds in the ground where it becomes an economic mineable resource. And that's where Warner comes in, and that's his expertise and his knowledge with respects to putting projects into production. I mean, the beautiful thing is he's helped put Mount Milligan here in British Columbia in production. He's worked at the Cloudbreak mine in Australia.
Yep.
He's worked at Diavik up in the Northwest Territories. He's worked at the not too far from the SK property, the Robinson mine at Ely, Nevada.
Yep,
He's worked there and helped KGHM with that, I think, with improving efficiencies. And that is exactly what Warner, you know, that's what he brings to the table. And we are, you know, again, extremely happy that we have a gentleman of his acumen on as our executive chairman.
And it does make a huge difference, because when you're even reporting things and the way you're working on site, majors, if they are handed a project the way they like to see it, that makes it makes a difference. Like, you know, you can find something, and if it isn't collaborated, done the right way, sometimes you're like, oh, it's going to take a deal longer. But if you've got someone who's worked on a lot of big projects, who's had a lot of success like that, has worked with majors, he knows how not only to assimilate or to kind of congregate all the information, get the data, but also how to present it the way they want to see it. And that does make a big difference.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, and to get on to the other gentleman, I mean, you have Campbell Smith. There's a gentleman with a wealth of experience as well, a wealth of knowledge, again, in the financial markets as well. And he's been just fantastic that, you know, for support. And he's, you know, just, again, a very experienced man that we, again, very pleased to have on board our company. Also, we have David Eaton.
Yep.
He's the chairman of Barron Group, and he is again another gentleman with just a wealth of knowledge, a wealth of experience. One of the great parts about David I love is that he used to work on the floor of the old Vancouver Stock Exchange, which I just think, wow, he's just got incredible experience in the capital markets.
Yes.
But I just love the fact that he started at the VSE, right? You know, he started right from the ground, like no pun intended, but he started from the ground floor.
And that's, and having that level of experience, and they've seen it all. That's such a big part too. And I know not everything's exact when they're in cycles, but there's similarities. So you've seen every type of market, every type of upturn, every kind of downturn. And certainly this one will be a little bit different. But like all things that are cyclical, its time is going to come, and it is coming.
Yep. I believe with copper, I believe it's when it comes, it will be in a big way.
So we've got the team here. We've got also Kyle there as well. I always like
Kyle
to throw
Hockey,
Kyle Hockey, who worked at Goldman Sachs.
Great financial background.
Yep.
Ex Euros Securities, ex Goldman Sachs.
Yep.
I mean, he's a designated CFA.
Yes.
So
a lot of technical expertise there as well.
Yes. Yeah. And been, you know, obviously he's done the advising on, I believe, M&A as well. So I mean, he's got a great financial background.
Yes.
And so. Yeah, we are very, very pleased. We're very pleased, and I'm very pleased to have this board with this kind of experience and this kind of. I can lean on them if I have questions that I need to be answered.
So maybe let's just jump right into the SK property, that Silver King, Silver King mine and Anaconda Copper Co. kind of story. Just kind of get people caught up to speed on that project.
Yeah. SK project in Nevada, eastern Nevada, lies about 60 miles south of the Robinson mine, which is owned by KGHM, and the Robinson mine is active. SK, what we found so intriguing and interesting and quite promising with the SK project was the fact that Anaconda drilled it in the early 80s, and I mean they had I guess the most exciting hole really, I guess, was SK2, which just the mineralization started at 44.5 meters, but it was an intercept in the end. It ended up being an intercept of 548 meters. It was 0.06 copper. Okay, that's low grade, but yeah. And there was other metals as well as silver in there. There was other base metals in there, but it definitely pointed to the potential of a porphyry system on that project.
Yes.
They didn't find, for again, lack of a better expression, they didn't find the guts of it.
Yeah.
But we are truly, we're going to do the work. We're going to go through the process of being methodical and taking all the proper geological steps to see if it is there, if Mother Nature left it there on that project. But that's why it was picked up.
Yes. And that's shallow. Remind people, like 44 meters down.
44.5 is fairly shallow. Yes.
That's pretty shallow. So there's a lot of wiggle room there. You can see in this exploration model here.
And those, if you see in the exploration model, so those are the 5 different types of mineralization that have been encountered on the property.
Yes.
Porphyry, epithermal, subepithermal, sediment hosted, and skarn.
And I'm not going to even pretend to be a geo, but
neither am I. I'm not a geo.
No, yeah, but I have heard a number of geos when they talk, they say, listen, if you find a couple of systems on one, that's usually a very good indicator. Like there's more than one thing going on. So this, you're saying there's 5 systems here.
Well, 5 different types of mineralization.
Types of mineralization. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. So. Yeah, no, it's exciting. And we've got there's a lot of work to be done on this project. It is not seen anywhere near the amount of work that it needs. So there's still a lot of work to be done. And again, we're up to the challenge and we look forward to it. And again, we're going to be methodical and we're going to do this right. And again, all we can do is ultimately put the truth machine into the ground, drill it, put the money in the ground.
Yeah.
And that's what we plan on doing.
Yeah, I mean, you've got the money, you're ready to go, and I've got my own belief in the new Omicron variant, and that's had a big effect on people because they think, oh my God, are we going to go down for another year of lockdown? And I don't want to get into that conversation too much.
That happening.
I don't see it happening. No,
I don't think they could. I don't think the governments can afford to shut down the economy. No. It's just they can't. Those 2 months that hurt everyone.
Yes. And I think it gave a bit of a shock, and then you got the sell-off season, tax loss. I think it's we're going to find very quickly that as data has already come out, it's not. I mean, even the woman who found or discovered it in South Africa said it's a very mild variant, and yeah, it's contagious, sure, but it's highly contagious, which it's like okay. I don't want to make the reference of a flu, but like if it's not as dangerous. Highly contagious. Okay, it sucks. You got it, but hey, we've had that all of our lives.
I think the one thing that we all have to take into consideration is that this COVID, this pandemic, it affects. We're all different, right? Yeah. All our bodies deal with things differently, and that's what we have to all. And that's where it comes in that you take care of one another.
Yes.
Meaning. Just use some caution.
Yes. That's the one good thing is people, that whenever they do feel sick, even whenever I was younger, they'd say, just stay home. Don't come into work. You're not being a hero by coming in and making other people sick. So hopefully that's hammered home now that people go, if you feel sick in any way, and it's not just because it's going to cost a business some money, is that just don't put people I would have people even at the gym and they would come and think they're going to sweat it out. It's like, don't do that. Like you're just spreading out germs.
Spreading it out and spreading it to everyone.
Yeah, it's like, don't sweat it out here. Stay at home, sit in a bathtub, turn on the steam.
Sweat it out at home.
Yeah, just stay at home. So, I mean, that's hopefully a good thing, that people become a lot more mindful of that and space. And as you said, it's tough too when you're trying to find a universal solution when you can't. Like, there's different people in different health, different shapes. You can't just have one solution that's going to be right for everyone as well. But that's more of a nuanced conversation and kind of off topic. But I hate playing too much futurizing, but I'm very optimistic about 2022. And I think
Allied Copper will be a very busy company in 2022.
There's going to be news flow. There's going to be lots going on.
A lot of news flow.
Yes.
And we will be very busy. We will have our hands full.
Yes. And I mean, it's always tough when you're especially in mining, because you're at the mercy of drill results at the end of the day.
Yes.
Like, there's lots of
we are
hitting milestones, but that's why I don't.
And that's the difficult part of being an exploration company.
Yes,
that's the hard part. But the idea is, you do the research, you do the due diligence, you do the work. Again, understanding geology, geochemistry, geophysics, do the geophysics, and really tightening up your drill targets to give yourself the best a chance to have success. Copper is the way to go. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. 2025 is just around the corner. It'll be upon us before we know it.
Absolutely.
And they're the experts that know a lot more than probably you and I, Andrew. But they've said this keeps going the way it's going. We will be in deficit for copper supplies.
Yep.
And there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Money's going to need to be spent and invested to search for more copper. I mean, the prime example is that you have mines that will be being shut in because the grades are too low. They're not economic. Obviously, if the price keeps going up, they may be able to, and if they can, extract it from the whole stock, then wonderful. But and to put let's be honest, if for the most part, to put a new mine into production, if you're lucky, 5 to 7 years, if you're lucky, could be as long as 10.
Yeah. And then location. I mean, you guys are a perfect permitted area in Nevada. It's super mining friendly.
Yeah, super mining friendly.
Yeah.
With Nevada being ranked the #1 mining jurisdiction in the world by the Fraser Institute's 2020 report. We couldn't be happier but to be in Nevada, but we've got a portfolio of projects that we're looking at, and we have a roll-up strategy, and we will continue to continue to review these projects and decide which might be the best fit for Allied Copper shareholders.
Yes, and we can't speak to. We can always hint at it. I mean, you've got a strong M&A capacity group inside. You've said that you're looking at other projects. So if people want a sneak preview of what could be coming in 2022, that could be on the table. So, I mean, that's something that if you're looking at today, you go, this stock has been beaten up for no reason.
We've been beaten up for literally no reason at all. Nothing. Again, we're going to reiterate this again. Nothing has changed.
Yes.
Fundamentally, nothing has changed other than we've added a project that we feel quite happy to have, and quite honored to be able to pick up this project, from Cloudbreak Discovery and from Alianza. That we really are. We look forward to the challenges ahead, and we know that it's going to take work, and we know it's going to take capital. So, but we are willing to do the work.
Yes, and that's why I felt
people will see that from the news flow. 2022 will be a very busy year. I can't stress that enough. We will.
I'm glad you do. That's important. People need to hear that. Is that, well, when's the news going to come? When's the news going to come? It's like, it's coming.
It's coming. It's coming.
There's no point. I mean, right now, it's Christmas, holiday season, New Year. You'd be lost putting news out right now. People are distracted.
And prime example, we have seen some companies here that put out some decent news releases, with respects to drilling results, and they're getting nothing for it. In fact, if anything, it's being used as this is a good time to get rid of my stock.
Yeah. It might create a bit of volume. So, okay, great. Bye. Yeah, and so January always is a bit of a pickup because we've got VRIC coming on. People are reminded, they get back into it, they get a bit more excited.
Yeah.
So that's why I felt more comfortable having you on. When I was thinking, who's really been kind of taken advantage of and beaten up in the market as a tax loss strategy that has a huge upside potential, and there's going to be news, and the people that are involved were involved to get this onto the market. So this, I think, is a very unique situation and story that's going to be it's at its infancy. It's got so much upside potential,
and very much at our infancy. We just started trading on November the 4th, so we are, of this year. So I mean, yes, we are very much at at the infancy stage. It's the proverbial walk before you run.
Yes,
and crawl before you walk and walk before you run.
Yes. And especially when you're dealing with mining, because the amount of work you put into the planning, the drill targets, all the science that goes in to make sure that, okay, are we doing this, methodically?
Yeah.
People on our side, they get they're antsy, like, no, just put a hole in the ground. It's like, no, take a step back, slow down, do it properly.
Haphazard. That's just, haste makes waste.
Yes, 100%.
And all of that being said, and again, we are going to be, and I don't want to overuse it, but we are going to be methodical. We are doing the proper, steps, taking the proper steps, again, of, understanding the geology. And how do you understand that geology? You do it by geochemical, by analysis. Prime example, MMI soil for SK, which will be coming soon. You'll be seeing there'll be news on that in the future, probably in the new year. But that took a lot longer than we ever imagined. The labs are like, people don't realize how backed up the labs are, and that's another thing that I think we all have to deal with.
It's a new reality that we have to face and come to terms with. And I know people get upset about it. And I've had people say, like, "Hey,
you can't do anything about it."
No, there's nothing you can do.
And they think I hate to say this, but but that's but it's all well and good. They're the best. They are the best customers. But a lot of the labs, they the bigger players, the big mining companies that are doing the drill programs, they get first dibs because they are their big customers. And that's all well and good. I mean, that's fine. That's just the way it is, and we'll have to just deal with it. And I don't really know if the labs ever got back up to full capacity after 2008.
Okay, yes.
And that because a lot of people, were really hurting after 2000, myself included, for that matter.
Yes.
I don't know if they really got right back up to speed.
And it brings up another
I don't know
topic.
That. I don't
know.
But
it brings up another thought too, is that the education gap, like attracting new people, which to me, once again, is tough because they're brought up a certain way and they think, oh, mining's terrible. And you go, no. You need to reframe this and realize that every solution that you want for a greener tomorrow comes from the basis of mining.
Yes.
So if you want to have the most impact, sure, walking in the streets and doing a climate march, okay. I don't think we need more of that. People get it. They know what the problem is.
No.
Go into a field that's related to mining or in the development of solar panels, the batteries, all of this that's actually solving the problem. There's such a gap of people needed in those sectors that there should be just a rush, a wave of people thinking, oh, wow, I could have a great career in something that, I could have a wonderful life, but also I'm having a meaningful, impactful change.
That's a great way to put it. A meaningful impact on creating a better planet, a cleaner, greener planet. I couldn't agree more with that statement.
Well, this is great. And listen, we're going to be in touch a lot. We're going to have you on a lot because I like I said, I don't mind going out a bit of a limb on this one because there's so much going on. The thesis is there, some great properties and a huge team. So we're going to be watching very closely, and we look forward to all the news that will be coming out in the next year. But it's been a real pleasure having you on, Richard.
Well, thanks very much for having me. I appreciate it. Thanks, Andrew.
We'll talk to you again real soon.
You bet. Take care.